Alejandro Garnacho has been recalled to the Manchester United squad for their League Cup quarter-final against Tottenham on Thursday night, but Marcus Rashford was absent as the squad departed Manchester. Garnacho and Rashford were omitted from the matchday squad for the Premier League victory against Manchester City on Sunday and were ordered to train at the club's Carrington training complex on the morning of the game. Garnacho, 20, wore a snood pulled over his mouth and a black beanie hat when he rendezvoused with teammates for the journey to London on Wednesday afternoon. However, Rashford was unaccounted for when the United players gathered at the airport car park and then Stockport station. Rashford outlined his wish to leave United in an interview on Tuesday, having reported unwell for training on Monday. United players were given Tuesday off by head coach Ruben Amorim. The club have been asked for comment on Rashford's fitness. Amorim clarified after the City match that Garnacho and Rashford would be in contention to return to the squad against Spurs. "We have one more training," Amorim said on Wednesday morning, "but it's the same situation of all the other players. If they train well, then I have to make a choice. We will see at the end of training. Of course I expect a reaction. I expect the best of each player every day, so we will see after training." After United beat City, Amorim addressed the absences of Rashford and Garnacho. "It is important to say why. It was not a disciplinary thing. Next week, next game, new life, they are fighting for their places. But for me it is important the performance in training, the performance in games, the way you dress, the way you eat, the way you engage with your teammates, the way you push your teammates. Everything is important in our context in the beginning of something, when we want to change a lot of things. When people in our club are losing their jobs, we have to put the standards really high. For that, they have to fight for their place in the team. And today the team, we proved we can leave anyone outside the squad and manage to win if you play together. I'm going to say, again, it was not a disciplinary thing. It's the small details. You can see the games like I see, there are some things that have to change. But it is a new life, it's not a disciplinary thing. It's the performance in training, the performance in game, and then I have to change, to choose players. If it was disciplinary, I would say that here, and it will be a bigger problem, but it was not that. It was just that I want to improve my players, and you understand that for so long, for example with Rash, we tried a thing, and it doesn't work. Let's continue to do the same thing, or try something different. So it's as simple as that. If they train well with the talent they have, we will be so much better with them. Both of them. But they have to work hard, they do. Today they trained really hard, so it's a good thing. New week, new life, let's see the next one. Noussair Mazraoui has recovered from a knock he sustained against City to be available for selection. Confirmed United squad members Onana, Bayindir, Heaton, Dalot, Mazraoui, Yoro, Dalot, Maguire, Lindelof, Evans, Martinez, Malacia, Ugarte, Casemiro, Fernandes, Eriksen, Mainoo, Antony, Garnacho, Xerxes, Højlund, Ahmad. Marcus Rashford has been criticised for a lack of effort, playing without heart, and for being lazy when representing Manchester United. He has been labelled as greedy. His actions, not chasing back or sprinting enough on the pitch, speak louder than his words, it has been said. However, when the same Rashford turned up at his old primary school on Tuesday, another side to him was shown. More accurately, the part of Rashford which has always been there and is often reflected off the field was public-facing, as opposed to the footballer we usually see. This is the grateful Rashford, the one who will be ignored when he isn't scoring goals or laying on assists. To a great deal of those who watch him at Old Trafford and beyond, this Rashford is actually a reason that the wonder kid from almost 10 years ago has been lost, replaced by a shadow of the former electric striker. Rashford, his detractors both in the stands and in the media will say, has been too often distracted. Be it with visits like this, heading to Button Lane to give out Christmas gifts to pupils, or trying to do the work of the British government in attempts to feed young children during the COVID-19 pandemic. That this is even a conversation or a topic says more about the sporting world and the judgment athletes are exposed to than anything that can be produced when they are in action. For Rashford, it is almost fitting, probably deliberate, that what looks to be an official start of the end has happened here. For me, personally, I think I'm ready for a new challenge and the next steps, he told journalist Henry Winter when asked what the future held for him, especially after being left out of Ruben Amorim's squad for the Manchester derby on Sunday. Rashford's name, or rather the lack of his name or appearance at the Etihad Stadium, almost overshadowed one of the biggest matches of the season. Had it not been for Ahmad and a late turnaround, then it almost certainly would have. In the days since, Rashford has been the story more than Amorim and his challenge to turn around a crumbling club. Last week, it was reported that he had been made available in the January window at a cut price of £40 million. That is a significant drop-off from his value 2 years ago, or in 2020. Even in the summer, there was noise that Rashford could leave. Ineos and Sir Jim Ratcliffe never went as far as backing him or anyone else at the club. Just about everybody was up for sale. People were expendable. This all came less than a year on from signing a new long-term deal. Rashford earned that by ending Erik ten Hag's first season in charge with 30 goals, sometimes looking like the only way forward for United. Tied down by massive wages, just how long he would remain at his boyhood club was never quite certain. Rashford has always generated attention, be it for his footballing or non-footballing activity. He has been a walking transfer rumour, basically since day one. When not spoken about as a star, he is muddied and broken down instead. Rashford, as Elton John said, is still standing. He is largely battered away and come through criticism. The last 2 years have been different, though, with form dipping on a personal and team level. That is what has led to Roy Keane suggesting, before these latest comments from his Wythenshawe roots, that the time for a move has come. Rashford, classy as always, responded to the questions of an exit in the only way he knows how. "When I leave, it's going to be no hard feelings," he explained. "You're not going to have any negative comments from me about Manchester United. That's me as a person. If I know that a situation is already bad, I'm not going to make it worse. I've seen how other players have left in the past, and I don't want to be that person. When I leave, I'll make a statement, and it will be from me." Rashford was booed off the field at the end of last season during the FA Cup semi-final against Coventry City. More groans and dissent were heard last week at Victoria Pleasant. He is regularly hammered by readers in the comments of this site, and social media is just as vitriolic. On Tuesday, he posted on Instagram after the visit to Button Lane, regardless. "Great day joining in the Christmas festivities at Button Lane Primary School Christmas tree emoji," he wrote. This is what Rashford has always been able to do and will always do. He is from Manchester. A United fan for life. Yes, 100%, and with this place at his heart, even if it can be a cause of hurt and may soon have to wield a painful goodbye. He has always been loyal to the area and helps the club with foundation and charity work. He does plenty off his own back as well. "I don't like to see kids go through what I went through growing up, so as many kids as I can help I will," he told Winter. "That's why the programme needs to go on for as long as possible, and it needs to keep improving." He has come to move past the doubters and the loud voices too. "I do feel misunderstood, but I'm fine with it," Rashford added when talk of his professionalism and attitude was raised. "I'm a very simple person. I love football. That's been my life from the beginning." He is just as determined to get better in the months and years to come, whether that is at Old Trafford or, as is increasingly likely, elsewhere. "I'm halfway through my career. I don't expect my peak to be now. I've had 9 years so far in the Premier League, and that's taught me a lot. That's helped me grow as a player and as a person. So I don't have any regrets from the last 9 years. I won't have any regrets going forward because I take things day by day. And sometimes bad things happen, sometimes good things happen. I just try and keep a fine balance. It is that balance that has made Rashford so valuable to Manchester and often to United. Whether in form or out of form, has always stood up for the city. He has put himself on the line for England as well. The fickle nature of sport and football has seen him ridiculed and abused for both. That is the life and the expectation that professionals have to deal with, some will argue. Players, themselves, will shrug it off as a counterweight of the privilege for being in their position, acting as a negative for all the positives. And no, money does not make up for it. A growing number of players will shield themselves, or attempt to anyway, from the spotlight as they seek to ignore and to focus. Rashford has never been one of those. He has always gone above and beyond to fight the battles closest to him and that he felt worth sticking up for. In some cases, he went out there when coming out on top wasn't even in the equation. He simply acted as a name and a voice to raise awareness and to embody. It is this Rashford that faces outwards and shines above even when his football doesn't. It is this Rashford that was there, present in his place and where will always be his home, when he all but confirmed the decision to leave. Manchester United winger Alejandro Garnacho has posted to his social media for the first time since being left out of the squad that beat Manchester City on Sunday. Garnacho and Marcus Rashford were surprise omissions from the team, which completed a stunning turnaround at the Etihad Stadium last weekend. Speaking about the decision at the weekend, Ruben Amorim was keen to insist that both players were in the running to feature on Thursday night in the Carabao Cup against Tottenham Hotspur. It is important to say why it was not a disciplinary thing. Next week, next game, new life. They are fighting for their places, he explained. But for me, it is important, the performance in training, the performance in games, the way you dress, the way you eat, the way you engage with your teammates, the way you push your teammates. Everything is important in our context in the beginning of something, when we want to change a lot of things. When people in our club are losing their jobs, we have to put the standards really high. For that, they have to fight for their place in the team. And today, the team we proved we can leave anyone outside the squad and manage to win if you play together. I'm going to say, again, it was not a disciplinary thing. It's the small details. You can see the games like I see. There are some things that have to change. Garnacho was spotted at Stockport Station on Wednesday afternoon as the squad heads down to London for tomorrow's match. Rashford was not pictured. On Tuesday night, Garnacho won the prestigious Puskas Award for his incredible goal against Everton last season. Responding to that achievement on Instagram, the Argentine posted a hands-up emoji, often used for praising something, to acknowledge his success. It remains to be seen whether Garnacho has done enough to impress Amorim in training this week to earn a start at Tottenham.